All right, boys. So here's the deal. In Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, when they started to release the extra expansion passes, naturally, I decided that I was going to release my personal tier list of those because my opinion definitely matters the most. And, you know, you should really listen to me when I'm giving you like honest opinions on things, obviously.
Actually, I am one of the most intelligent Mario Kart players, and everything that I say is law. And so when I give you an opinion, you are supposed to take it absolutely seriously because I am actually the most intelligent person on the universe.
Let's get on to the meat and bones of this. So obviously in Mario Kart World, there are tons of intermission tracks, and there are, what was it, like 30? Yeah, I think it's 30 tracks overall. Not really the biggest pool of tracks ever seen or ever heard of, but in a general case, it's still a pretty good roster, and most Mario Karts start out that way. So we're going to give credit where credit is due. Most of these tracks are actually really good. I'm going to be honest, I don't really think that when I go in online play, I have a complaint about any of them. So no matter where I put them on the tier list, it's not me necessarily saying that they're garbage. It's just me saying that there are some I prefer over others. Now that I've gotten that out of the way, I feel like I need to talk about intermission tracks, because if you look at my tier list, obviously I have a thing against intermission tracks. To be clear, I think intermission tracks are a fun and inventive way to play Mario Kart, and if you want to play intermission tracks, that is fine. But from my personal experience of playing them, they are pretty much all the same, just a bunch of straight roads with slight curves where nobody can get a breakaway, and the only important part is the last lap where you actually get a breakaway, and wouldn't you believe it, the last lap is the actual course. So sorry to all you intermission lovers, but not sorry. They're actually really bad for the game, and if there was an option to only do courses, I would play that exclusively. But as there isn't an option to do that, I am forced to play in lobbies, and that makes me very sad. I just wish they weren't the only option for online play. Now that I've gotten that out of the way, let's actually get into the tier list. So obviously we're going to start with Mario Bros. Circuit. It's passing. It's pretty much what you would expect from your first track of the game. It's not difficult or hard, and it's pretty bare bones. There are a couple shortcuts that you can take that make it a little bit more exciting, but overall there's not too much going on with it, and you don't really need to know much tech to do good on this track, and so it gets a passing grade from me. You know what? We'll bump it up to appreciated because, like I said, it's your standard run-of-the-mill first track. It serves its purpose as a first track really well, and so I can't really put it any lower than that. Next up, Crown City. Honestly, I love Crown City, I'm not gonna lie, but it's not my favorite track. I like that you get to drive around in this big city, and that there is quite a lot to do and some interesting shortcuts that you can take. But in a lot of cases, I find that I still am just kind of driving straight, which isn't really my biggest my biggest like. So I will put it in appreciated as well. I don't think the track is bad. It's very visually appealing, and it has its fun aspects for sure. So I'm not going to put it any lower, but I definitely am not going to put it in super fun. That being said, Whistle Stop Summit is an absolute bomb. I don't know where Nintendo got the idea for this track, and I don't even understand how it works so well. But there's a reason why Whistle Stop is infamously known for having some of the not only greatest tricks, but the one that shows up the most. Like, people are always finding new tech for Whistle Stop, and I think that's what I like so much about it, is that there's all this new tech being discovered for Whistle Stop that just makes the track so fun. I don't think there's a single moment in Whistle Stop where I'm not trying to pull off some crazy cut or some crazy tech to get a lead. Whistle Stop is basically non-stop adrenaline rush, and it's just a fun track. I'm not even gonna lie. Moving on, we have for some reason I'm drawing a blank on what this one is called. DK Spaceport. DK Spaceport, you know, for section track, it's really good. I'm not gonna lie, for a section track, it's really good. Its reference is amazing. I love the reference that it gets. It has a lot of good cuts. I don't think I'm gonna actually put it in super fun, but I'm gonna put it at the top of appreciated. And the reason why is because unfortunately it once again suffers from the same problem that a lot of the stages that I'm going to talk about suffer from the same problem with, which is that it's basically a lot of straight and not a lot of anything else is going on. It's a really good track, don't get me wrong, and I understand the love for the track. Just in a general case, the love for the track is well deserved because it looks amazing, it looks immaculate, and to be fair, even though it is a lot of straight, you do kind of dodge a bunch of barrels, which makes it a lot more fun, but there's not really like any super tech you can do or anything fun like that. So comparative to what I'm thinking about, it has to be in a tier below. That being said, Desert Hills, I think it looks visually stunning for sure. I just think it was very poorly executed. It looks nothing like what it used to look like, and it kind of feels very bare bones. Like I said, it does look very visually stunning, but there's not much going on with the stage. It's just a lot of straight driving until you get to the end where you do a lot of turns. But if you have like mushrooms and other things, you just want to go straight anyways. So it's pretty much a track where you just kind of go straight, or you want to go straight the whole entire time. It's all right. Like, I have no problems with it, and if it's picked, I'm not going to be upset, but it's not as good as the rest. Shy Guy Bazaar, there were a lot of memes about this one. You know, the floor is lava, very prevalent with this one because, you know, basically with Shy Guy Bazaars, you immediately start off the track and most people will go immediately to the right rail to get to the top. Now, a lot of people have stopped doing that because, you know, people get knocked off of the rails and it just causes you to essentially lose the race before it even starts, which is kind of rough. But yeah, no, Shy Guy Bazaar has a lot of good turns in my personal opinion, and it does keep you busy with like trying to take the tech and trying to do the stunts and everything like that. So overall, I think Shy Guy Bazaar is really fun as well. Would I say it's as good as Whistle Stop? No, but it's definitely up there. Speaking of other stages that are just an absolute riot and constantly have you focusing on tech, Wario Stadium. If there is a course that at all is anything close to Whistle Stop, it would be Wario Stadium. I cannot play this track without finding out that somebody has developed some new tech for this course. I swear. I was practicing the speed runs, the time trials one night, and then later on somebody found a time trial that cut 2 seconds, and then like a day later another person found a cut that's cut another 1 second, and so I'm out here trying to time trial the old and the new is already coming out. Now what I've discovered is that it's really hard to do the newest tech, but I'm still trying to figure it out. But Wario Stadium as a whole, if you're not wall riding or trying to do something insane, you're not doing Wario Stadium correctly. It's such a fun stage. Next up on the list, we have Airship Fortress, I think is what it's called. I don't know why I can't remember it, but it's a really great track. Don't get it twisted, it's a really good track. I really love it. This is another one of the ones where you basically like treat the floor as lava, kind of, because when you initially get into the stage, everybody just veers immediately left to get onto the rail, and the reason for that is because you take an immediate right hop to basically make a big cut, and then hop onto another rail to make another massive corner cut. It immediately starts out really fun. It's a good front running track, and if you know what you're doing, you are going to get a massive lead away from everybody else. It's just non-stop fun with this one as well. I have no gripes whatsoever with this stage, so it gets a super fun from me again. DK Pass. DK Pass is another one of those stages where I feel like new tech is being figured out every single day. Now that being said, DK Pass isn't one of my favorites personally, but I understand anybody who likes it because it is a really fun stage. It does have one of the better techs being the rail ride into the wall hop double tree bounce into cutting the corner. It doesn't have those same pizzazz as the ones in S tier. And so I think it just gets to be at the top of appreciated for sure. Next up on the list, I'm gonna be honest, I don't even remember the name of this stage. It's not one of my favorites. If you're a Rosa fan, I'm sure you appreciate this stage, but the water section is a bit janky. And in a lot of cases, once again, you just kind of suffer from having to go in a straight line. And so this one just doesn't get the biggest pass from me. It's not that fun. Don't get me wrong, it's very visually appealing, and I'm still not going to complain if it shows up, but it's not as fun as anything above it, I would say. Next up on the list, we have, and I can't believe I'm putting this nearly as high as I'm putting it, but Sky High Sundae is actually amazing. I don't know why they released it in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, because in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, it clearly wasn't meant to be a Mario Kart 8 Deluxe track. Clearly it wasn't. Sky High Sundae is infinitely better on Mario Kart World, and maybe it's just because of the mechanics of Mario Kart World. But when I play Sky High Sundae in World, I'm actually having fun. But when I play it in 8 Deluxe, I am bored out of my mind. I don't know what about it is so different that I have such a fun time, but it is so much better in this game. I can't explain it. I can't. I really can't. Next up, I think this is Wario Shipyard. Once again, I need to kind of remember what the names are of all these tracks, but I'm pretty sure this is Wario Shipyard from Mario Kart 7. And this is another banger. I'm not gonna lie. This is another one of those tracks where slowly over time the tech has been developing, and you basically kind of treat the water section as minimally as possible. You want to avoid the water as much as possible, and I find that so hilarious considering that it's supposed to be a water track. And I can't help but put it in a higher spot simply because you spend the whole entire time basically avoiding touching water on this water track. Not only that, but it is really fun, and I loved it in Mario Kart 7, so it of course has to be on the top of the list for me as well, because it got a real good glow up on this game as well. Speaking of games that got glow ups, we're going to talk about the opposite now. Koopa Troopa Beach did not get a glow up. I'm sorry. Koopa Troopa Beach is essentially Baby Park 2.0, and aside from the amazing music that plays on this stage, it's just a big circle. It was better in former iterations. It's not bad in this one, but it was better in former iterations. Next up, I believe this is Faraway Oasis. Faraway Oasis is one of those stages I was not actually expecting to be that good. I'm gonna keep it a buck, but I actually enjoy it. I would say that I don't enjoy it as much as DK Pass or Sky High Sundae, but this track is actually also very enjoyable if you know what you're doing. There's realistically like one big tech point, and the rest of the track is just optimal driving, but that one big tech point feels like so much fun because you go from a rail ride to another rail ride to a quick wall ride back to rail hop into water, to then water hop straight onto another rail, hop off the rail, pull trick, to then hop into the water and then do a big hop out of the water to get onto another rail. So it's basically like one trick after another right after each other, and I can't help but find that to be not only challenging but fun as crap if you pull it off. It's amazing. I love the stage, honestly. I didn't think I would, but I love it. Next up, we have Peach Beach. This stage got a glow up. I'm gonna put it not before or not after Faraway Oasis, but before DK Spaceport, because Peach Beach from the GameCube got a massive glow up. Instead of just going to the actual beach, you kind of go straight into the town. This is like one of those stages where you actually like learn the wall ride tech. Like this is a stage that will teach you wall ride tech. This is the stage you want to go to learn wall ride tech, because there's so many good wall ride places that you can use to save time. I need to spend more time labbing this track. This is one of the ones that I've spent the least time labbing, but I feel like I need to spend more time labbing this, honestly. Anyways, so on the worst side of things, but yeah, no, we have this one next. I don't know why I can't remember the name. Just let me know in the comments so that you can call me a dummy. Some good tech has been discovered for it, and I acknowledge that. I don't think it's as fun as like DK Spaceport, but I definitely think that it's fun, and I feel like once I learn the tech for this one, I might enjoy it a little bit more. But overall, it's not one of my favorite stages. And objectively, I don't think too many people like it either, as it's not really one of those highly voted for stages. Dino Jungle, I think this is arguably Shortcat's favorite track. He loves talking about Dino Jungle. I don't know what it is, but he loves talking about Dino Jungle, and I can kind of understand it. I would put it definitely better than DK Spaceport, but I'm not going to really put it better than any of these. I enjoyed Dino Jungle, but it's not one of those tracks that I say, yeah, I really want to go to Dino Jungle. It's one of those, all right, I've done everything else I want to do, so let's go to Dino Jungle kind of stages, you know? Next up, we have, I think, arguably the hardest map in the game. Great question, Block Ruins. I say hardest map because the tech for this one, even though it was discovered day one, if you don't have the proper setup for it, you can really mess up. And people have been really hunkering down on that one specific part right at the end. And it feels so good when you actually pull it off. And I'm not even talking the long version. It feels good to pull off the short version of it. But I can only imagine how satisfying it is to pull off the long version and completely cut that corner, because I haven't tried to do that yet because I can barely do the initial cut. I would say that arguably this is the one that I struggle with the most for sure, but I can accept that this is a very fun track to play regardless. And I feel like once I learn how to do properly the tech, and I'm not talking the left setup tech because the left setup tech is the easier way to set it up. I'm talking about the right setup tech that actually gets you a solid cut. Once I figure out how to do that more consistently, you can bet I'm going to be picking this stage a lot more often just so that I can show off that tech. 100% I will be bragging. Next up, Cheap Falls. It's, you know, I think the tech for this one has been developing over time, and I would have put it in barely passing if it wasn't for the fact that I have been blabbing this a lot more recently, ever since my friend Yeti pulled me in to try to find some new tech for this stage. And I think that there is a lot of potential for improvement on this track. I would have considered it one of those go in a straight line tracks, but it's really not. You don't have to treat it that way. And so it gets a much needed boost from me personally. I wouldn't say it's better than Dino for sure, but I would say it's definitely on the list of stages that I didn't think I was going to like as much. Next up, we have Dandelion Depths. I'm going to be honest, this is another one of those barely passing tracks. It has like one fun moment, and surprisingly, it's when you're in the water. When you're in the water, all the tricks that you do off of the different like ponds, like the center of the different ponds, makes the track kind of fun for me. But other than that, you kind of just do two big turns. It kind of like sucks that that's how it is, but it does have the interesting parts of it, which is why I can't put it in crappy. And you'll probably find that I don't really put any stages in crappy, and that's because, well, I don't really think any of the stages are bad. I just have to acknowledge that some of them are worse than the others, you know? Moving on to Boo Cinema, I feel like I would have said a lot of people if I didn't put this in top tier. Now, me personally, I understand for a lot of people, Boo Cinema is probably up here with all these great guys, but I genuinely don't think Boo Cinema does better than Dino Jungle. And the reason why I say that isn't because it's not a visually pleasing track. It's very visually pleasing. The music is amazing, and the track itself is really fun to drive on. My problem is that it's too short. The track is too short. I feel like I'm barely spending any time in Boost Cinema when I do spend time in Boost Cinema. And there's a lot of fun boardwalk that they could have had us take advantage of right outside the cinema, but they didn't. Why are we not allowed to drive on the boardwalk? I just want to know, all right? Like, there's tons of fun that could have been had if we got to drive on the boardwalk. Maybe make it a section track even. But instead of that, we just kind of get to drive into the theater and that's it. I just want it to be longer is basically what I'm saying. If it was longer, it would be definitely in the super fun, but because it's not, it has to be nerfed a little bit, you know? Let's see. I think this is Dry Bones Burnout. Not my favorite track. Really good music though. I think Dry Bones Burnout is definitely one of those tracks that, like, when I've been playing for a while, I'm just like, yeah, I kind of want to play Dry Bones Burnout, but it's not one of those tracks where I'm just like, I immediately want to play it. It's a very visually pleasing track, and like I said, the music is amazing. It has really good turns, and I like a couple of the tricks that you can do on the map, but there's not too many where it makes me scream out like this is an amazing track, so I can't really put it much higher. And along with that, if anybody knows me, they know that I am a big fan of Moo Moo Meadows. But I'm gonna keep it a buck. This Moo Moo Meadows is not 100% better than anything that I have above it. It is a good track for sure, and some new tech is being found for it, especially the big cut and the cow hop. Literally the cow hop at the beginning. But other than that, a lot of it is very kind of samey and straight. And I would say straighter than Mario Kart 8 Deluxe's Moo Moo Meadows, which kind of makes me sad. But it's still a good track for sure. After that, we have Cocoa Mountain, and I'm gonna be honest, this is another one of those tracks that got nerfed to the ground. I don't know what they're doing with Cocoa Mountain. I think its best iteration genuinely was N64. I think its best iteration was N64, and then they did a alright rework of it in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. And I would say it's borderline unrecognizable now in Mario Kart in Mario Kart World. It is borderline unrecognizable. I'm gonna keep it a buck. I don't think that I understand the vision that they were going for with this track. It just doesn't feel the same anymore. It feels so different than what it used to be, and maybe that's just my nostalgia lens. But I think if I were to say what is arguably the worst track in my opinion at the current moment, it would probably be Cocoa Mountain. Not because it's a bad track, but just because it's not what it used to be, and it's not better than the rest of them. That being said, we're moving on to the next, which is Toad Factory. I'm going to be honest, I was actually looking forward to Toad Factory. I was happy that they brought Toad Factory back, and I think that deserves me putting it at least in appreciated, because I appreciate that they brought it back for sure. My problem is that it just doesn't... It feels kind of bland. It's hard for me to explain, but like when you play Toad Factory enough times, you just start to not like it as much, and I think it's because there's not much that you can do. In a game where a lot of the wall rides, rail rides, and other things tend to be the funnest parts and the funnest aspects of the game, in Toad Factory, it doesn't really feel like there's too much of that going around. And before you say anything, before you say something like...
Actually, Captain, there is the beam ride that you can do into the other beam, into the right trick onto the rail at the end.
Trust me, I know. I pull it off all the time, and it gets me a really nice cut, but then for the rest of the map, I feel like I'm going in a straight line with a couple turns. So, you know, I love it. It's a really fun track. It's just not, in my opinion, the best track, or even close to the best track. Speaking of arguably one of the best tracks, honestly, Bowser Castle, I was praising Whistle Stop But the more that I play Bowser's Castle, the more that I find that I really love this track. It's a solid 2.5 minutes of just pure bliss. Not only does it give you the speed up moments where it feels like you're going 200cc, but it gives you the speed up moments where it feels like you're going 200cc and a massive long cut twice in a row during that section. When you start out in Bowser's Castle, you immediately go down a couple hills and then you go into a split off where you come back pretty much immediately. And that's where a lot of people hop onto the rails to set up for the sign hop to basically cut the next turn completely off. And that gets you a really solid lead. But then you go straight immediately into the speed section where you take this massive cut by wall riding and then hopping onto the next set of the track. It is insanely fun to pull off, and it's not only insanely fun to pull off, but it's massively rewarding when you do pull it off. And it's not just something that you just pull off. You have to set it up properly, or you just lose. Like, you just fall off. So it's high risk, high reward, and it's so fun to pull it off. Highly recommend that you try learning the tech for Bowser's Castle because it is a ton of fun. Next up on the list, we got the first one in the Special Cup with Acorn Heights. I would say Acorn Heights sits about the same place as Moo Moo Meadows. I find that there's a lot of fun things about Acorn Heights, and I'm gonna be honest, when I first got Acorn Heights, I thought that this was gonna be the map that I spent a couple hours teching to figure out the tech, because I had initially figured out that you could beanstalk left trick onto the wall and you could go above the leaf to basically completely cut the turn before the big beanstalk section at the end. But then people discovered that you can just go under the leaf as well. Now, I don't really know which one is faster, but I'll tell you it's safer to go on top of the leaf. But it's a ton of fun to do not just that, but then to immediately go into the stalks and just completely cut the whole entire section there completely off as well. Do I wish that there was a little more to it? Yes. But overall, is it a fun track? 100%. Next up, we got Mario Circuit. Now, if anybody knows anything about me with when it came to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, I got so tired of Mario Circuit 3. So tired of Mario Circuit 3 because everybody picked it because it was a baggy track. But this is basically Mario Circuit 1, 2, and 3 added into one single track, and I can appreciate that. It makes it fun, and that's all I'm gonna say about it. I would say that it goes pretty solidly right there. Next up, we got Peach Castle. You know, or not Peach Castle, this is Peach Circuit, excuse me. It's alright. I'm really good at the track for no reason at all. In fact, in the most recent race that I did of it, I took a massive, solid 6-second lead away from my competitors. And these aren't people who are bad at the game by any speak of the word. So me having a solid 6-second lead is actually crazy. Now, you could say that it was probably just good item distribution that I got lucky, and I would probably agree. But this track is also kind of just bland. It's pretty easy. As long as you just know how to handle turns, it's pretty easy. Overall, it's a nice track though, so don't get me wrong. It's a really nice track. And finally, we have Rainbow Road, and I know exactly what would happen if I put it anywhere other than in Super Fun. I would get completely roasted off the internet, and I tend to agree with the opinion that everybody else has. It is a super fun track. My only gripe with this track is that it's a lot of straightaway, which you might be saying, but Captain, isn't that the problem that you've had with a lot of other tracks, is that they're basically nothing but straight driving? And my caveat to that is that Rainbow Road not only is a visually stunning track, but it does have some tech that's actually really fun and kind of risky to pull off. And though I do have a love-hate relationship with it because it tends to be the map that I lose the most, and I kind of just accept that, I don't think that Rainbow Road was necessarily designed to be a track where you take advantage of any of the rails or anything like that. But it was designed to kind of give you the option to do what you wanted a little bit. It's kind of hard to say, and I don't really understand why I enjoy it as much as I do, and I know a lot of people also enjoy it a lot. It's hard to explain why we all enjoy it. I think it's just because it's very visually pleasing, and it's kind of just a fun track to drive, even if it is a lot of straight. It's hard to explain, realistically. Now, am I going to pick Rainbow Road all the time? Probably not. But do I still enjoy playing it? Absolutely. Anyway, that's been my tier list. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Let me know what you thought about my tier list. Let me know if you think that I should have put something somewhere else, a different track in a different spot. Also, let me know what your thoughts are on intermissions, because like I said, I want to know the opinions of the people who enjoy the intermissions so much so that I can kind of get a grasp of why you understand them, because I just don't get it. I don't understand. I've done plenty of intermissions already since the game has come out, and the only thing that I can say about them is that they're boring. They're really, really boring. Do I think that they're very user-friendly? Yes, until you get to the track, in which case even like the novices or the new players are going to struggle against the professional players, because the professional players have been bagging the whole time, and now they're taking advantage of that bag to basically rule the track where they know the tech and you probably don't as a new player. And so it just to me it turns into just a toxic game style, and I don't like it. But let me know, like I said, if you like intermission tracks. If you don't like intermission tracks, let me know. And like, let me know if you think that I should have put some of the tracks in different spots. Thank you guys all so much for watching, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Deuces.